Hello, in today's Footy Talk I am going to give you some tips for fantasy football. It is a very popular game now. I will provide the link in the description. I think over 7 million people play this game around the world. I am okay at it. I'm not amazing, I'm okay, but I want to give you some tips and some vocabulary for this season and generally how to play this game. Okay, my first tip is it is a numbers game. So it's not about how good a player is, it's based on how many points and the statistics in the game. So you should pick players who are in form, players who are scoring lots of points. Probably they will score points in the next matches, so you should pick them. Don't pick players who you like, basically. Number 2, there are must-haves or big hitters. There are players that are important and that you need. You cannot win without them, basically, because they score more points than other players. This year, for example, Trent Alexander-Arnold, possibly Kevin De Bruyne are the two main big hitters. Fernandes, maybe he was in form at the end of last season. But I think 3 seasons ago, a person from Liverpool won the whole competition, was number 1 in the competition, and he did not pick a Liverpool player once. He was an Everton fan, and he also didn't pick any players who were playing against Everton. So, yes, there are big hitters and players that you think that you must have in your team, but there are ways around them. You don't always need the big hitters. Number 3, plan for 3 games. My throat is terrible, sorry. So you want to look at the next 3 or 4 matches, not just the next game. Pick your squad based on the next 3 or 4 games. If players have easier games in the next weeks, maybe they are a good option. Number 4, watch football. You need to watch Premier League football and also look for patterns. So who is taking the free kicks, who is taking the corners, who is going up for corners, who is involved in the set pieces for teams. Maybe if a cross came in and somebody scored, maybe somebody was waiting behind them and you think, okay, maybe he is a good option, maybe he is a cheaper option. So watch football, look for patterns in the play for teams. Who are the important players for certain teams? What does everything go through in that team? Free kicks, passages of play. So make sure you watch football and analyze, look for patterns in the matches. Okay, some advice for positions, and you don't need an expensive goalkeeper, because you want a goalkeeper that faces shots. You get points for every 3 shots that a goalkeeper saves. So you want a goalkeeper who faces shots, so you can save money by choosing a cheaper goalkeeper. Also, you only need 1 goalkeeper. So maybe your second goalkeeper can be the cheapest goalkeeper to save money, because goalkeepers usually don't get switched out of the team and they don't get injured really. So pick a goalkeeper, pick a cheap goalkeeper and stick with him. Okay, defenders. So you want defenders who score goals. Lewis Dunk scores goals. Matt Doherty scores a lot of goals for a defender, but he has just transferred to Spurs, so I would wait a little bit on him. Also, you want defenders who make assists. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, James, I think from Chelsea, is likely to make assists if he plays. Or you want players who play for teams who like to defend. So teams like Crystal Palace, I think, Sheffield United, they like to defend. Their whole strategy is to not concede the goal. So also they depend on set pieces. They spend a lot of time on the training ground trying to score set pieces, so they depend on them. So the centre backs for those teams are dangerous. They are likely to score goals from set pieces, so they are also good cheap options. Some examples I think are Dan for Crystal Palace, Mitchell for Crystal Palace, Lamptey for Brighton. These are cheap examples that maybe you can put in your team. I also think Vinagre for Wolves, but Wolves have just signed a left-sided player, so I don't know if he will play. But a right-sided player for Wolves, I don't know who will play on the right. It's possibly Oscar Bear, who might be a good option at right back. Okay, midfielders. So this season, there are many big hitters in midfield. Aubameyang, Salah, Mane, De Bruyne, Fernandes, Sterling. 6 players who are all big point scorers, but you cannot fit them into your team. I think you can fit 3 in, realistically. Possibly 4 if you have 2 really cheap forwards. So it's up to you, really. But you need at least 3 of those big hitters, I think. Aubameyang possibly will have a good season. I imagine De Bruyne will have a good season. And then I think you need to choose between Salah and Mane, which one will get the most points out of those 2. And then you have Fernandes. But for me, I am going to choose Martial up front for United. I cannot fit Martial and Fernandes in my team, so I am going to choose Martial. But with forwards, you want forwards who play 90 minutes. So players like Jamie Vardy, Harry Kane, they are guaranteed 90 minutes most weeks. But also players like Chris Wood for Burnley, Mitrovic I imagine for Fulham, also Danny Ings, Jimenez, they play 90 minutes. And out of those players, Jimenez and Ings were cheap options last season, but not so much this season. I think Mitrovic, Che Adams, but he will not play 90 minutes, is a good option. Antonio for West Ham is a good option, possibly. And Rodrigo for Leeds. They are cheaper strikers that you can put in your team. But you want players in all positions, basically, who play 90 minutes. Or at least 60 minutes if they are a defender. So make sure you're watching football, reading who is injured, who is likely to start the next game, and make sure you pick players who are playing. You can have 3 substitutes who maybe don't play to save you money. Okay, that's my advice. You can join my league if you want. I've started a league with my Facebook group. I will put the link in the description just for fun. Let's see if you can beat me. I'm okay at it. You probably will beat me. But any more advice, please comment below. Like the video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.